preach the third Sunday of Advent. We have this funny habit of measuring out the weeks of Advent. Sometimes it seems like that makes the weeks go faster. More often it seems like it makes them go slower. Because most of all, if Advent is about anything, it's about waiting. It's about this time before what's to come. It seems like all of us are waiting for something. We're waiting to fall in love, or we're waiting to get the perfect job, or we're waiting to graduate from school. We're waiting to be reconciled with a friend. We're all waiting for something. We live in that period of waiting. And it comes to light in the season of Advent. My son will tell you it comes to light. The other day we came home from school and there were 4 packages on the front stoop waiting to be taken in. And he said, "What are those?" I said, "Well, they're probably presents for you." And he said, "Can I open them?" And I said, "They have to wait till Christmas." And he said, "Dad, I can't wait." This is after his teacher in nursery school had, at the age of 4, taught him that, "Joey, waiting is a part of life." I don't think he remembered anything else from nursery school, but that has become sort of a byword in our family. And I think if that teacher never taught him anything else, that's enough. You know about waiting. And in our nation today, it feels like we're waiting as well. We're all waiting for this new president to take over. Some of us are waiting with hope, and some are waiting with anxiety. And we don't know quite what will come, but here we are all waiting. And so waiting is just built into our lives in so many different ways. And it's certainly true that it was built into the lives of the people of Israel. Their whole religion is based around waiting. Waiting for, ever since the United Kingdom of King David fell apart, they began waiting for its restoration. And so they had been waiting 1,000 years almost by the time Jesus came. Or at least from the time of the prophet Isaiah. We heard some of his prophecy this morning in our first lesson. So for 500 or 600 years, they had been waiting for this Messiah that was promised, and this beautiful scene that you heard described in that first lesson. So the people of Israel were used to waiting. And in fact, when Jesus' day came, they were still waiting and still anticipating that something was going to happen. Sometimes it seemed like it was just about to happen, and sometimes it seemed like, well, maybe not just the way. But at the moment of Jesus' coming, there was a great sense of anticipation that God was about to act, that the Roman oppressors were so bad, and that things had become so corrupted that God would surely act. And John the Baptist was a part of that movement, of that spirit. And you remember last week in our gospel reading, John says, "This is the moment. I've come, but I am only preparing the way for one whose sandals I'm not worthy to untie." And in the Gospel of John, he baptizes Jesus, and then he points at Jesus across the way, and he says, "There, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." John is very clear that this is the one we have been waiting for. So isn't it ironic that this week it has become not so clear to our friend John. This reading that we've just heard takes place months or maybe a year or two after that, what we heard last week, after that moment of his baptism, after his proclamation in the wilderness. John goes on and gets arrested by Herod and is put in prison. And he sits there in prison, and time is passing slowly, and he gets word of what's happened to Jesus. And he's beginning to say to himself, whoa, was I right? Is this really the one? Or was it all for naught? Am I supposed to wait for someone else? Or is this some kind of fulfillment that I don't understand? Because it doesn't seem to me that this is exactly the Messiah that I thought would come. And so he sends his disciples to Jesus and says, are you the one? Or are we waiting for someone else? At the very least, this gospel lesson has to give comfort to you and me, who are ourselves often struck